Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs, and today we're going to have a bit of a laugh. I'm doing a bit of an unorthodox loom today, and it's inspired from the Frog Princess movie, which I've watched over and over and over again, and we're going to do a little voodoo doll. They touch on voodoo in that particular movie, and we thought it would be a bit of a giggle to do one. So let's get started. We're going to do him on a single loom. There's a few things we're going to do. For the pins, I haven't used pins. I've used toothpicks. It's a single toothpick that I've cut in half with a pair of scissors, and I've just coloured, or Izzy coloured for me, with a silver Sharpie, the wood part, and then I just put a little red band on the top there to signify, you know, the red bit of a pin. And then I did a couple of things with the stitching here for his eyes and mouth and body, the sutures and whatnot. Originally I did it with bands, which is quite difficult, and it does leave a bit of a mess at the back of the head after you've tied it all up. The other thing I did was I had this yarn, which is extremely thin. I'm guessing it's probably for I don't know, crocheting or something. I'm not a crochet person, but anyway, I have this needle, this yarn needle, and I actually cut a piece of this off and used it to thread through, and that worked quite well as well. Now I'm guessing that you could use a hook to pull this through, but that was quite a good way of doing it too. So I will show you how to do it with the yarn, because I believe it looks slightly better. So what we need to do firstly is get our toothpick, and very carefully, please, if you're a kid, get a grown-up to do this. If you're a clumsy grown-up, get a non-clumsy grown-up to do it. My non-clumsy grown-up is at work, so you're going to have to put up with me. Cut your toothpick in half. Now I have a silver Sharpie, and what I did was, just so that I didn't make a mess everywhere, I had laid a tissue down for my little girl, and we coloured in with a Sharpie. And this is similar to doing the my ninja as well, who has the little swords. We colour in his swords. We did a gold Sharpie, I think, for that. Now some people have said they want to use real pins, and that's completely up to you, but if you're a minor, if you're a kiddo, I would recommend against it. Turn this over. Oops, throw it all over the place. You might get a bit grubby doing this. And I'm just going to let this sit and dry while I make, so that's one, before I put the red on it, the red band. I'm just going to let these sit and dry while I make my actual figure. Now you don't have to colour these in, you can do whatever you want really. But there we go, there's my silver stakes. So I'm going to move those to one side and let them dry a bit while we make our figure. Now I used a tan colour to make this one, but I think he looks a bit, and as some of my friends on Rainbow Loom Obsession, which is a lovely group that I'm in, we all mentioned that it sort of looks a bit like a gingerbread man, and on my channel on Facebook it was, we all sort of said he looked a bit like a gingerbread man. So I'm going to do him in white, and we'll see what he looks like. So I'm going to use double banding, which means you take 2 bands and you place them on the pegs together as if they were one. My loom is going to be in an offset configuration, so that means that columns 1 and 3 are slightly lower than column 2, and the open part of the peg, or the arrow, is facing towards you, and we will start laying our bands. Now this is going to be super easy because you're just doing the basic shape of an action figure. Nothing terribly special about that. I tried to use buttons for the eyes, and I really couldn't get any that were sort of small enough that I had that looked good, so I've ended up doing the cross for the eyes instead, and I just felt that that looked a little better. So I'm using white bands all the way. Take a single band and we'll place that here for a crossover, and we'll do the same up above. We don't have to put eyes there on the bands. Use 3 bands for the neck. The neck is always a sort of weak area. And these are sort of little rag dolls, so it's not even as if you have to define the fingers or toes or feet or anything really. It's quite amusing, isn't it, when you think about it? Disney does touch on some rather dark themes at times. I thought Izzy would be absolutely terrified by the whole black magic side of things in this particular The Frog Princess movie, but she loved it. Well, I mean, she didn't love the black magic, she just loved the whole movie. I thought it was great fun, wasn't scared at all. I, on the other hand, was jumping out of my skin. So go all the way down to the bottom. As I said, it's just a standard action figure. Now, I'm not going to do a proper foot like I do. I'm just going to take 3 bands, put my hook through, wrap once and twice. I'm just going to do the foot the old way that I used to. So slide onto 2 bands, the old way that I used to do feet. And we'll pop that on here. And we'll do the same for the other side. 3, wrap once and twice and slide onto 2. Reclaim the end of your bands and we'll pop that on here. Let's do some arms. Take a single band, wrap once and twice, slide onto 2. Now we need to do 5 pairs, so this is our first pair, second pair, third pair, fourth pair, and fifth pair, and we'll pop that here. Do another arm, single band, wrap it once and twice. First pair, oopsie, our second pair, our third pair, here's our fourth pair, and our fifth pair. Pop that on here. Let's do his groin area. So we've come down 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, and then we go up with 2 here, up with another 2 here and put an end cap here, single band, wrap once and twice, pop that there, and then we do some crossover bands, which is a single band that we're just stretching across these 3 pegs in the shape of a triangle, like that. Alright, so all we need to do now is loop it all up. Pull the foot back and grab the 2 lower bands, and we loop this up. Now, as you can see, I've just looped this one up here. If we were to leave that like that and then loop this across, these bands would be on top of the leg. It does look a bit funny, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig down and do the groin area first and put that there, and then link this up. I'm going to unlink this one, I'm going to hold it to the side because I'd already done it. I'm going to grab the 2 bands here, if I can, and loop them across, and then I'm going to put those on top. I just feel it doesn't matter, it's not going to affect how your looming goes, but it does look nicer to have that continuity, in my opinion. But it's not a big swing. If you don't do it, it's not a problem. Loop these up, push those crossover bands back with the back of your hook so that you are just exposing those 2 bottom bands to loop up. I like to then do the arms next, arms to the throat, so that we don't forget those, because otherwise if you do forget them your arms fall off, and that's really annoying. Link up the middle. Now we have 3 bands here for the neck, so dig down and find those 3. If it's tight, give it a wiggle and move up to the side, to the other side, and up the middle. If you have got buttons that you can add, they would go here like you would do normally with your eyes. But the buttons that I had were much too big, and they took up his entire face. So let's grab 2 white bands, push your hook down through the center and put the white bands on the end of your hook. Drag them back through into the back side of that peg here. Take the 2 closest to you, up, over and off, and pull tight. So we will take this off our loom. So instead of looking like a gingerbread man, he's going to look like a little ghost. Alright, so let's move our loom out of the way. As you can see, he literally is just a little action figure. I'm going to tuck the white loop and tying bands to the back of his head. I'm going to move those down so that they're out of the way. There's one. Let's see if I can grab the other one. And I'm going to hide them under a few of these bands, like that. Trying not to distort the shape of his head. Stretch him into shape. There we go. Now, what we're going to do from here, if you're using black bands, what I suggest that you do is take a single black band and you cut it here, and you're going to use your hook, and what you want to do is make a cross. Okay, so you're going to use 1, to go through. So pick your spot and grab. You're going to loop this in half like you're doing a mouth. Grab that and pull it through and let go so that it's suspended. And you're going to go down here and you're literally going to be sewing across on his eye like this with bands, and each time you do some, tie them in a knot. Now it's quite time consuming, so if you have black thread, I would suggest that you use that. You don't have to use a needle like this, you can use your hook, and you would do the same sort of thing. It could be thread, it could be the yarn like I've got. Grab your hook and pull some through to start you off, and then let's find another spot to go in. Wrap it around your hook. Now the only thing is that you will be pulling quite a bit of thread through if you make it very, very long, but I don't really think that's a problem. And just like we do normally, you're going to have to pull out some, and make it so that it's not all tight and stuck inside his head. Grab the other side, and I'm going to come through here and pull this one through from the back. This is the most time consuming bit, is the actual stitching the little dude up. Okay, so there's one. Now what I'm going to do, so it doesn't come through because it just fell through before, as you saw, I'm going to tie a knot here between these so that as I pull one side, the other side doesn't come through. So let me tie my first knot here, and I'll trim that off as I'm done, but I think this will make it easier. I'm going to come through the other side here, grab my longer end, hook it round and pull it through. You want it to cross, so you're going to go at a diagonal here, and I wouldn't worry too much if it doesn't look perfect, because at the end of the day these were handmade, and they weren't perfect, they just had to represent a figure, I guess. I don't know, I've never made one. We'll ask Disney, the Disney animators. Alright, because we're using a thread, we just move over to here now and just grab, pull through. One, poke my hook through here, so as you can see, the time consuming bit is not actually making the figure. The figure is so easy, it's the suturing. So there we are, there's two crosses for the eyes. I'm going to come down here now and do a mouth. I'll grab the longer bit, wrap it around my hook, put it through here as well, through this side. Let's try that again. My yarn, or whatever this is called, has split. There we go. Pull that through. Now, to do his mouth, I think they have like a line going long ways as well. So what I'm going to do is dig down through the middle. I'm not going to do all of the lines because I think we'd be here for 100 years. And that's the wrong fairy tale, isn't it? That would be Sleeping Beauty, not Frog Princess. There's a mouth. Again, I'm going to come through the front, grab my yarn and pull it through the centre of his chest if I can. It's getting a bit bedraggled. And I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom here, pull that through. The nice thing about using yarn is I'm not having to worry about tying it in 100 bazillion knots at the back. You know that it's going to look messy in the back, but at least we're not having to tie it so many times. So I'm going to do a cross here. Like that. And now if you wanted to, I know that they have sort of like little where they go through the arms and stuff like that. That's completely up to you if you want to do that. I will not be. I think it's going to take forever. So the details are completely up to you at how detailed you want to get for this. I would not suggest taking this to school. This is meant as a joke, but it probably would not be appreciated taking it to school. But just like with any of the horror things that we've done, like Hannibal or anything like that, this is just kind of amusing in that kind of theme. It's sort of like a bit of a mummy or whatever. I don't mean a mummy like Izzy calls me a mummy, although she probably thinks I'm a bit of a horror sometimes. Alright, so I've looped it all the way back up to the top now. I'm going to trim this off here, like that. I'm going to tie this in a little knot. Do you know how much easier it is to tie a knot when you've got lots of thread to work with? Says she, not able to tie a knot. Goodness gracious. I would be the worst Boy Scout ever, wouldn't I? Alright, let's trim that. There we go. So there's my stitching up. Now, for the... it does look a bit like a mummy, a zombie. For my little pins that I stick in, I'm using a red band for each one. So there's 2 red bands, and I'm just going to wrap my red band around as many times as it takes for it to be tight, and then I'm going to try and push it up to the top of the toothpick, and I'm just going to use a red Sharpie on the top of the toothpick to try and make it sort of look like it's the top of a pin. Dab of paint or something like that, and then, oh, what a headache. There we go. Let's do the other side. Alright, we'll have a tummy ache. Ah, I've got a tummy ache. There we go. There's our little voodoo doll for our horror theme. Hope you enjoyed making him. Take care. Bye bye.